Today we've got the flight review on the Freewing 90mm J10 Dragon. Let's take a look at the plane, and then we'll also take a look at the equipment and get this bird in the air. You'll notice the Chinese paint scheme with the red, the white, and the blue. We've got the polyacrylic Minwax gloss on this one. Down in the description, I'll have all my throws and settings for AS3X Plus. So if you want to set your plane up, it'll give you something to go by, or you can just implement those into your J10 as well. You'll notice it's got plenty of lights on this bird. We've got lights on the top, the bottom, the sides, and also the coolest light on this thing is the 3 on the landing gear. When you come in on final, it really helps with orientation and lets you know when you're lined up because you have 1 on each gear. We've also painted the gear and the wheels white on this one. Let's take a look at the equipment we got for today's flight. We've got the Radiomaster TX16S with AGO1s. We're using a Spectrum AR637TA that came out of a plane, so we flashed it. We also have it tuned. As I mentioned, those gains will be down in the description below. You see we got the SMC 6S5900 HV2. Good thing about that pack is it lets us get it further back and push the CG back on it. Also, it's a 5900 that weighs what most 5000s and 5200s weigh. For orientation, we've got one antenna here. We've got the other antenna here. So it gives us our 90-degree orientation. You'll notice even from the maiden flight video, we were starting with the line here. We've actually moved it all the way back to here, and it's just shy of the wires, so the battery's not sitting on the wires. You got the little pins up front that make contact in the bottom of the canopy. So that way, when you take the canopy on and off, it activates the heads-up display for the pilot. So we went over all the equipment we've got, a little bit of the looks and features on the jet. So let's get this J10 in the air and put it through the paces. All right, 90mm J10 on deck. Let's go. Take off. You got the nose wheel gyro, holding it straight down the runway. Smooth climb out. It didn't jump off the runway. You got it trimmed nice for takeoff. Pull the gear up. Go ahead and do a roll. That's medium rate. So a little aggressive, but not too bad. Also, we're up in the power right now. Bring it down about 30%. Do a nice little pass down the runway. Pitch it out. Set it on high rate. AS3X on takeoff. Just wing rock a little bit because I've got that more set for landing mode. So we're actually going to go low rate. You'll see now it's more crisp through the turns. And kind of getting in and out of the power, you can see this bird can really move for a Delta. It's kind of in between size between the Rafale and like the Eurofighter. I think it's a good balance between the two. Going around the turn, really clean. When you slow it down, still flies really good. I'm gonna slow it down quite a bit right here. So I'm gonna go power off, bring the nose up just a hair. We're completely power off right here. It's on about 20% power. So really low on the power. We're going to go ahead and show you some vertical right here. We're going to go full power. Right through the loop, no problem. And you see we weren't even going that fast when we put the power on, and it climbed just fine. So fan set up and the ducking is really nice in this plane as far as performance. We got 3 in the green. I'm bringing it around, and we'll probably have time for one landing, maybe a second one. We'll see how it goes. So we'll start slowing it down right here. We're about 50% throttle. I'm about 30%. We'll let the nose come down just a little bit. I'm kind of slide it around to slow it down. We'll go around on that one. Get a little fast. Got over in that shade a little bit and a little bit tougher to see, but it's okay. You can see that this plane though, something we did see right there, is it's got plenty of power to get out of the way. I'm actually gonna go back to the landing mode gyro. All right, I'm gonna slow it down. I got it in closer this time. Let it slow down. We're gonna slow down the power. We'll hold the nose up. Set her down, a little firm, and then we got the reverse thrust. So this thing, as I mentioned in the flight review video, the reverse thrust works really well on this plane. When you put it on right there, we're about halfway and slow down, so pretty good speed, and it's about 150 foot. So overall, a good flight for the J10. Let's take it over the bench and look at the post-flight results. Now we've got the performance flight done for the J10 90mm. Let's take a look at some of the results on the battery and also talk a little bit about the flying characteristics, things that you'll like as far as pros and things that you want to watch for as far as cons. You'll notice that when we took off, the nose wheel gyro tuned in, kept it straight on the center line. I had to do very little correction. Climbed out smooth. We got the trim just right so it doesn't jump off the runway. In flight, you'll notice, one, this bird is very nimble, and two, it's fast. And so when you put those together and you're flying in tight, this thing can really move around the sky and fly really sharp. So it's definitely got a good flight envelope for performance. Also, you'll notice when we did some of the passes down the runway, really clean when it's flying slow. It's got good stable flight. We also got the AS3X Plus tuned in to help it out a little bit as well. Plenty of power going through the verticals and climbing through maneuvers. The ducting and the power system in this plane definitely gives it some great performance for a Delta wing, especially one a little bit larger size. I mentioned size-wise in the flight, this one's a little bit bigger than the Rafale, but not as big as the Eurofighter. So just to kind of give you an idea if you've had those planes or seen those planes before. Coming in on landing, you notice on the first one we did a go around. When you come in and it starts getting on the sink rate and comes down, be cautious on that power. Be ready to put the power in if you need to go around. You will notice that it has plenty of power to go around, so that's not an issue. We came around, brought it in, did a little bit more firm landing than I'd like, but the suspension helped out and planted it to the ground. And the thrust reverse on this plane works great. So on a shorter runway, we landed a little bit up shy of halfway. It took less than 150 feet to completely slow it down, but I didn't put in the thrust reverse till like the last little bit. So definitely effective on this plane. We were up in the air for 344 total. We were 16 seconds left, so we were about 340 on the throttle. So we stayed up in the throttle a little bit. However, we were managing the power through the sky. So let's take a look at the battery and see what we got. .384 across the board. So if you're flying really fast, you could definitely go 3.5 minutes just wide open to mostly open throttle for the most of the flight. So let's just say getting heavy on throttle most of the flight. If you're fairly easy, you can fly this thing 415, 430 on a 5900, and you might even stretch it to 445. But just right there, we were 344 in the sky and 330 on the throttle, mixed flying, and we were at 384 across the board. So overall, the pros of this plane is fast, nimble, definitely moves around. It's fun to fly. It's, I think, a good balance between the different Delta jets that are available. The cons, depending on the sky, this paint scheme can be a little bit harder to see. And the sink rate, which is not really a con, it's just something that you want to be aware of because it is a little bit more aggressive on this plane. And it's noticeable, the little bit of aggressive sink rate that it has compared to the other ones. It's not as bad once you get it dialed in, so don't think this thing just drops like a rock, but it is noticeable sink rate compared to the other ones. Other than that, I definitely like this jet overall, everything considered. If you like the flight review we did today and you want to see future videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel while you're here. Give us a thumbs up below, and we'll see you on the next one.